Give me a second. Let me see if you can hear me. There we go. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Perfect. Nick, what's up, dude?
How are you, brother?
I'm doing amazing. How about you?
Good. Good. Apologies for the delay.
No worries, dude. What are you cooking with Grim?
So, my partner in crime now, who's Hux, his handle is at @𝐬𝐡𝐧𝐮𝐟𝐚𝐥𝐨. We hit it off. He's helping me out with. Well, we're collaborating with a couple of the formulations for upcoming SEVO products. So the morning and evening serum previously was getting glycerin extracts from a bunch of different sources, some local, some from Amazon. And I was like, I really want to continue to improve the quality and caliber of the products. So Hux is incredibly smart. Grim is incredibly talented and a wonderful person to work with. So I was just chatting with them a little bit about the formulations, and Grim gave a little tip or two. But Hux is helping me produce everything.
I love it. So before we get into that, I want to talk about you a little bit. First of all, if you can give the listeners a little bit of who you are,
Sure.
what you're doing, but mainly, what got you to where you are today.
Yeah, definitely, man. So, born and raised in Houston, I got a degree in geophysics. Went to Texas A&M, so very science-minded background. Did research whenever I was at Texas A&M for fluvial geomorphology, so how beaches are kind of formed and the role that water plays in the formation of beaches. I graduated. I worked out in the field as a geophysicist, so I was using these like physical techniques to get an understanding of what's going on underneath the Earth's surface. So seismology, ERT, electromagnetic resistivity tomography, which is essentially just a fancy way of saying that you tase the Earth and kind of get feedback, so you're able to see where things are structured, etc. And I hated my life. I was working 80 hours a week in the Texas heat. Awful, brutal. And so I thought, well, I'm at a crossroads where I can either be okay with the fact that I'm completely miserable and choose that path of existence, or I can do something about it and see if I can get out of that situation. So I went online to Coursera, YouTube, etc., and took a bunch of courses in artificial intelligence, data science, etc. Anything modern that I could do to kind of get myself out of this pickle that I was in, and wound up being able to get a job as a technology and engineering analyst. So vetting new tech, etc. Was able to get away from that geophysics job and started at Chevron, where I currently work. I was a software engineer, so spatial applications, how data works. I love what I do at Chevron. So it's very, very data, very analytical focused. At a similar time, whenever I started at Chevron, so this was in March of 2020, I stumbled upon all these really impressive and really intelligent people on Twitter, and Grim is a perfect example of them. So this is right around the time whenever COVID was starting, and people were like, "Hey, this mystery virus coming out of Wuhan is kind of scary." Grim and a bunch of other folks had great advice on what to take, how to boost your immune system, and I've been following him for the past couple years. So,
Wow.
That's a little bit of background about my professional working experience. In regards to SEVO, my skincare company, and kind of how that started. So I live in Houston, which is really just an incredible melting pot of different cultures, races, ethnicities, etc. And there's a part of Houston called Katy Asia Town. They have tons of different types of Asian marketplaces, etc. And there is a Korean skincare beauty store. So I used to do the whole Korean skincare routine where it's 7 steps and wash and moisturize and toner, etc. And through the past couple of years, I've improved my quality of life through doing less, spending more times outside, minimizing my time in front of blue light, etc. Some of the kind of cornerstones that we have now. I spent the past couple of years slowly getting rid of things and making my life a little bit better. And my sister, who's 3 years younger than me, has had eczema her entire life, on her neck, on her wrists, on her elbows. And she's tried basically every single product under the sun to get rid of that eczema and had no success. She tried a few tallow bombs, had no success with that either. So, harkening back to my research background, I know my way around a research paper and following Grimm and other people that are constantly promoting and encouraging people, go do your own research, go try to like find and really build upon this knowledge on your own. I was able to kind of come up with a formula which we now use for our face balm. So I got some products off of Amazon. So I started SEVO with a $200 gift card from Amazon, and was like, all right, let's just try to put some stuff together and see what works.
Okay.
So grass-fed beef tallow, rosehip oil, jojoba oil, both of those oils are cold pressed and cold processed to kind of make sure that you're not baking out any of the goodness that occurs within those oils naturally. But I also included fat soluble ingredients. And to me, this is still a huge mark that a lot of these other tallow companies are missing, is they are so quick to include beeswax, olive oil, coconut oil, which aren't really, like, I would not consider that skin food, right? A lot of people, especially if they're suffering from, well, I shouldn't say suffering from sensitive skin, if they happen to have sensitive skin, you cannot use an oil like olive oil or coconut oil because your skin isn't going to naturally absorb it and make use of it. So my thought was, okay, well, let's include good oils, jojoba oil, rosehip oil, and grass-fed and finished beef tallow, but let's also include some fat-soluble ingredients too. So that's how we have the inclusion of the vitamin K, the CoQ10, low-dose pregnenolone as well. So put all of that together and gave it to my sister and was like, I gave it my best shot. Let me know what you think. So she tried it, and within 3 days, her eczema was gone. She's been using it for the past couple months now. She's had no
the balm.
Just the balm, correct. And she's had no resurgence in her eczema. So from there, I thought, okay, well, this is pretty incredible. I liked using the product myself. So what originally started as the face balm, I then thought, okay, well, let's keep the fat soluble ingredients with the tallow, and let's start looking at water soluble ingredients for some serums. So did a lot of thinking on this. Followed a lot of accounts, went through a lot of historical tweets that Grimm and a lot of other like leaders in this space have posted, and came up with the formulations for the morning and the evening serum. Before I dive into those, do you have any questions?
I do. I have so many questions.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot to unpack over here. Right. So stumbling upon Grimm's account.
Yeah.
Just like that? You just stumbled upon Grimm, or were you having some type of I guess health issues or something where you were looking for some health for some advice, like besides your centralized route?
I had crippling anxiety, OCD, struggled with that my entire life. I was a hyperfixation on being sick, hyperfixations on like with common OCD symptoms like tapping constantly, like overwhelming fears of, am I sick? I had half convinced myself whenever I was in elementary school that I was going to just like drop dead of a heart attack. So I would frequently walk around I would be like consistently checking my pulse, like thinking, okay, like, can I still feel a heartbeat? Can I still feel a heartbeat?
I used to kind of be like that as well.
Really?
Yeah.
It's so what I noticed is the more that I talked to people about this, the more I found community and realized that I'm not the only person who experiences that, right?
Yeah.
And I think things really came to a head in 2020. I mean, obviously with global pandemic and news and everything's, absolute worst. And it was at that point where I was like, I really need to take ownership for this. I've lived my life far too long. Just not like I would have fleeting moments where I truly felt like myself. But the rest of it was just kind of an anxious like sporadic movement through life and nothing intentional and solidified. And one of the things I liked a lot about Grim and a lot of other accounts that he's kind of affiliated with is there's this very grounded sense of like sense of self that I was kind of getting from Grim, and I was very like intrigued by that. So as I went through that process of like kind of like the staples of health, grounding, getting in touch with your circadian rhythm, supplementing with magnesium and L-theanine, those things which, if you were to Google, and I think that there's a lot of, this is kind of ironic, but if you were to Google right now and say, okay, hey, like I have anxiety, what should I do? It'll give you, take pharmaceutical drugs. It'll tell you, clean up your diet or go for a walk or try essential oils, which might work for some people. But I was really looking for getting at the root cause of what was causing some of these discomforts and trying to like start at the source essentially rather than mask up the symptoms. So the more that I learned, the more I recognized that this is a path that I want to go down, is take extreme ownership for not only how I'm feeling, but to take extreme ownership for how can I help to share this knowledge with others after, like, now that I'm on the other side of it. I still get anxiety. We all get stressed and anxious from time to time, but I've been able to equip myself with tools where if I'm in a situation that's unpleasant or if I'm experiencing something, I now have the grounded sense where I'm able to, and I'm not perfect by any means, right? I'm not like some like, oh my gosh, I'm like all knowing. But I feel like I definitely have an understanding where I can approach a difficult situation and say, okay, I know what to do. And I can share with others, hey, this is what's helped for me before in the past, which is just, it's a really incredible way of giving back.
Yeah, I love that. I think you should talk about that more on the timeline.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I was going to ask right now, how are you doing now?
Great. We all have things that we struggle with on a regular basis. One of the interesting side effects of kind of getting in touch and being able to understand and self-diagnose is you really get a good understanding for your sense of well-being. I know whenever I'm agitated, if I'm off, typically that's a precursor to me getting sick,
Right.
especially now. So, there's a certain, there are certain things that I take, certain tweaks that I make in my diet and in my lifestyle to help kind of balance out with that. But I would say overall, the quality of life has just, it's improving every single day. So I really can't complain, honestly, Alfonso.
Yeah, I love it, and I really appreciate you sharing.
Yeah,
Yeah, Grimm's magic formula is magnesium and sun, but rightfully so, right?
absolutely.
Yeah. Right. Another thing you mentioned with you being introduced into like the skincare industry, I guess, was you slowly removing things, becoming more minimalist. I don't want to label it like minimalist, but I mean, this is something that I realize everywhere with all of my guests. Real health is real simple. You don't need a 10-step morning routine.
Yeah.
You just need to be more simple with your time, reconnect with nature.
Well, and on that, I think that we need to be a lot more kind to ourselves too. I
Ooh,
think
of course. That's a
whenever
really
it's true. I think, I used to be really diehard, like, Andrew Huberman type, where it was like, okay, 5 o'clock, I wake up and look directly at the sun. 6 o'clock, I'm like fasting and waiting until I can have coffee. So I'm not, et cetera. And I think that the important thing is to be aware of how things impact your body and find something that works well for you and well for your routine. Some days I'll stay out later and go hang out with friends. I'll go to a concert. I'll go see a movie. I'm not always, I do have blue light blockers, but it's not like I'm like, okay, like let's go to a concert and I'm just going to stay with these on because, God forbid I'm going to like disrupt my whole circadian rhythm. I think it's important to be mindful of that. And if that's something that's a helpful tool for you, abide by that and use that. But I think some people have funneled their compulsive disorders into over analyzing their health routine, which has given a lot of the accounts that we see on Next today.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, Nick, I want to touch on SEVO, right? SEVO?
Yeah, SEVO.
SEVO. Okay, I have a lot of questions over here.
Sure.
I mean, first of all, we already talked a little bit about the story. Well, what does SEVO mean?
So SEVO is it's a Latin translation of the word tallow or beef fat. So I wanted to pay homage to kind of the ingredient that got everything started. So
that's beautiful.
Yeah. So if you'll notice on our packaging too, kind of harkening back to whenever beef tallow was used by the ancient Romans as a natural moisturizer, on the boxes I have Carpe Diem, seize the day.
Right.
I like to try to weave that element into the boxing and branding and packaging as well. But that's the simple translation of SEVO, and what it means.
That's beautiful. Can you give us a little bit of a rundown of the products
Sure.
behind SEVO?
Of course. So touched on the face balm a little bit. I won't spend too much time on that. Again, the formulation kind of sets it apart. You have non-comedogenic fats, meaning they won't clog your pores. Grass-fed and finished beef tallow, which we're now sourcing from a local farm in Houston, about 45 minutes away from my house.
Wow.
Whenever I first was making beef tallow, I was getting with that Amazon gift card that I had, I just got a generic grass-fed and finished brand off of there, and it was a pale off-white kind of color. The tallow that I get now is yellow whenever it's delivered. I mean, there is a clear difference in the quality in which these animals were raised. It's incredible. So
you can tell a lot about the smell as well, right?
Definitely, yeah. So it doesn't have a lot of times beef tallow has this kind of like odoriferous, bit beefy kind of smell. It's sweet. As soon as I take off the lid and start working with the product, it's like this kind of very sweet floral smell, it's just incredible to work with. And with those fats, so the beef tallow, the rosehip oil, and the jojoba oil, CoQ10, vitamin K, and pregnenolone, all of those work synergistically to help to, vitamin K and CoQ10 in particular. I selected those because topically, there's a lot of evidence that suggests that they help to reduce signs of sun damage and aging. It also is an incredible booster to your mitochondria whenever taken orally.
Okay.
But whenever you apply it topically, and you'll notice this with a lot of the ingredients, and this is something to kind of impart to you and to the people that are going to be watching this, consider what we ingest orally and how that affects our bodies, and then look to literature to see what it suggests for how your skin utilizes it and absorbs it. So that's our face balm. What I wanted to do was take the guesswork out of your morning and evening skincare routine. So morning serum, the foundation of everything kind of got it started. So methylene blue is it's a big thing right now in health Twitter. It's starting to catch on as well with more of the general public and general population. And there are products out there currently that have methylene blue included. But when you apply methylene blue topically, it's a clothing dye, right? It was originally synthesized as a clothing dye, and they discovered that it had these potent antiviral properties.
Yeah. I mean, the first time discovering methylene blue, they wanted to stain cells.
Yep. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So my thought was, well, we can't put straight methylene blue into a face serum because everyone's going to just look like a Smurf completely. So I did a little bit of digging, and the form of methylene blue that we use in our face serums is a clear and colorless form of methylene blue in the form of leukomethylene blue. So by taking a specific form of vitamin C and combining it with methylene blue, you're able to yield leukomethylene blue, which is clear and colorless. does not stain the skin at all. You could apply an entire vial of our morning serum to your face and it will not stain your skin, which is a really great starting point for a lot of people that have heard about methylene blue but are concerned about the staining. So it really makes our product a great entry level like approach to what methylene blue is and the power that it has.
Right. I have so many questions over here.
Sure.
The first thing that caught my attention towards SEVO was your formulas.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so curious, like so curious on what made you choose every ingredient. So, first of all, why is methylene blue good for our skin? Why is a dye good for our skin?
Yeah, that's a really, so I'm not going to get too into the weeds on this because truth be told, I can't. One thing that I'm not good with, Alfonso, is being able to just like all of this right off the bat. That's what I respect Grim and a lot of other people for. But to put it in layman's terms, the way that methylene blue interacts with your skin, it's able to promote positive effects with collagen production, the elastin in your skin. So whenever we get wrinkles, right, that's the top level of our epidermis. There were studies that I stumbled upon, and a lot of this came from Vance and a lot of other folks that have kind of paved the way for topical methylene blue. But in particular, when you mix vitamin C with methylene blue, it's shown to outperform retinol, which is one of the standard leading anti-aging ingredients. And one particular study found that this combination of methylene blue plus vitamin C is 300% more effective than retinol when it comes to thickening the epidermis and helping to smooth those signs of aging. It really is incredible. Another thing to consider with retinol as well, typically whenever you use a retinol cream, you have to pair it with some type of sunscreen because it makes your skin much more susceptible to UVB damage. To kind of go back to the leucomethylene blue combo, it does the exact opposite of what a retinol would do in terms of sun damage. There's been studies that show that the application of methylene blue actually helps to improve your skin's resiliency to UVB damage. So whenever you pair the face serum with something like the face balm, which is formulated to be able to reverse signs of skin damage and help to promote your skin being able to kind of like make the most of the sun, right? We're not blocking the sun at all. We're making most of the sun. And this is something that a lot of folks that use the Meraki tallow balm report on is, man, if I put this methylene blue tallow balm on my face and I go outside, my skin looks better, like everything, like I look radiant. And there's a reason for that. The methylene blue essentially helps to promote all of the goodness from the sun. So all of the healing red light and infrared that comes from the sun, it helps to make the most of it rather than like shield it like a typical sunscreen would. So that's the methylene blue and vitamin C. What were some of the other ingredients that you were intrigued by?
Pregnenolone on your tallow balm. Why is that?
Pregnenolone's a tricky one. So the pregnenolone has the capacity to be able to provide like a plumping and firming effect to your skin. Pregnenolone it's kind of like the master hormone. So pregnenolone is the precursor to all the other different hormones that your body produces. So oftentimes whenever people have hormonal acne, that can be caused from hormonal imbalances topically on your skin. Rather than putting hormones on your skin directly, you're essentially giving your skin the kind of boost that it needs to balance. Again, not a doctor. I'm not the person that you should talk to for like hardcore skincare advice, but through my own kind of research and finding out what works through trial and error, the low dose pregnenolone has shown to be really helpful. And there's also literature to support it as well. It's not just a wild guess, but that's a really good question. It's a good question.
Right. Yeah. No, I've never seen pregnenolone on anything skincare related. So that's why I was like, it caught my attention. So Another thing is tremella mushroom. I think I told you in my call. Well, we talked about the mushroom, but I told you to stop talking to leave it for the podcast.
Yeah.
Um,
No, tremella is the star of the show for
right.
sure.
Yeah.
Well, one of the many stars of the show. So tremella mushroom has this. So again, with plumping and firming your skin, um, it has this incredible potential to be able to plump, firm your skin without having to rely on any type of like petrochemical or like synthetic ingredients.
Right.
There have been a lot of comparisons to other kind of like leading skincare products, which I won't mention here, but tremella has shown to have pretty incredible and pretty potent effects when it comes to being able to tighten, firm, and plump the skin. Um, and again, this is a naturally occurring mushroom. And
Right.
something to kind of make note of is when we're talking about tremella mushroom, and I didn't even realize this whenever I first put together the formulas, but through working with Hux and with a few other people, it's come to my knowledge that by pairing astragalus root with tremella mushroom, anytime that you
Mm,
pair astragalus root with mushrooms, there is a incredibly potent synergistic effect that occurs. Again, I'm not the one to talk to you about getting into all the depth and detail about it. That's something much better suited for someone like Hux or for Grim. But with all the mushrooms that we include in both our morning and our evening formulations, astragalus root is kind of the key partner to all of those. Have you taken astragalus root before, or are you familiar with that at all?
never, never. It's the first time I ever hear about tremella as well.
So tremella can be taken orally as well as it can be applied topically. And like a lot of the ingredients in our formulation, I kind of had this guiding principle of I want to make something that I could eat, right? Like I wouldn't want to eat my face serum with
Beautiful.
with aloe and distilled water and whatnot, but I wanted to make it so clean that we could consider it to be a
Said, right.
multivitamin for your
Right.
face. Um, so astragalus root, definitely look into it. I encourage everybody to consider it to be a part of their like daily supplement stack. So
Okay.
astragalus has the potential to help to repair your DNA through the process of lengthening your telomeres. So if you look at a strand of your DNA as you age and as you get older, those telomeres are damaged and they shorten.
Wow.
Astragalus root helps to lengthen those
Wow.
telomeres.
Wow.
So the thought that I had was, okay, well, when we have signs of DNA damage on our skin and that's shown visibly, could there be some potential to, if we apply astragalus root topically, can that help to kind of counteract some of the aging effects that can occur with, UVB damage, aging, etc. There's a lot of studies that suggest that that is in fact the case. And because we're only 2 months old, we can't really. It would not be proper of me to make a bunch of outlandish claims about what our serums can and can't do. But
Yeah.
all of the research that we put into these products, it's based first and foremost on scientific literature.
Beautiful. What? So I'm curious. Why did you ever consider tremella mushroom for your products?
So, tremella mushroom was something that I stumbled upon through following Grimhood and then Andra. Her
Mm-hmm.
handle is at bioavailable.nd, and both of them talked a lot about the properties of ingesting tremella mushroom and how it's great for their skin, collagen boosting properties, etc. And so the thought that I had was, okay, well, let's see what we can do with it topically. So I went on to
That's
Nootropics
so.
Depot. Yeah,
Mhm.
went on to Nootropics Depot, got a powdered version of tremella mushroom, and kind of did like a makeshift glycerin extract with that.
Wow.
And really, a lot of this Alfonso was kind of trial and error. So
Yeah.
I started with the formulas back in late August of last year. That's whenever I first gave my sister the
The
face
town.
balm. Yep. And so a lot of it was kind of trial and error and exploring, the potential synergies with different ingredients and testing it on myself and on my family as well. So to kind of touch a little bit on, and I want to get back to the ingredients because
Of course.
there's a lot more good ones to kind of touch on. But you know, my family's been using it, my girlfriend's been using it since we officially launched, and I gave them, you know, I gave all of them kits. My dad has had sunspots on his hands that have kind of like slowly gone away and disappeared over time. No changes to his diet, just kind of like him using these products. That's what he's experienced. Again, that's not something that I'm claiming or advertising as a it's not a selling point of the product specifically, and I can't guarantee that that'll happen. But that's just kind of feedback that I've heard. People's eczema kind of vanishing in a couple of days. A few other folks have come to me with that feedback as well. I've noticed that like bags under my eyes tend to go away pretty easily. Laugh lines on the side of my eyes. That's so typical things that people are like, oh my gosh, like I hate my face, my skin's terrible, etc. So they focus on things like marionette lines. So as you get older, these lines in your face, they get a lot more pronounced. People pay a lot of money to kind of get those fixed or altered. I've noticed that mine have diminished quite a bit. I'm 27 currently. I've always had pretty good skin, but definitely since I've started using my product, I've seen. I mean, I made it first and foremost for my sister and then for myself, and I've noticed a lot of good impacts with it. People are also very aware of like crow's feet, laugh lines, so anything having to do with their eyes. Typically is a pretty quick indication of aging. And being able to apply those products, safe products that can be applied near your eyes. People have had really good results with that so far. Going back to the ingredients list, so Bacopa, Veneri, and Go-To Cola, those 100%. A lot of influence came from Grimhood. We were talking about the potential that those have for helping to heal and benefit your skin. So to me, like right after methylene blue and vitamin C, my thought was, okay, like that is like that has to be something to include. We've had people come and tell us that their eyelashes and eyebrows have come in thicker. We've also had people tell me that their hairline has come in thicker as they've used it, which again is not a selling point that we had for the product at all. It was more to include those for like kind of skin firming and helping to strengthen their skin barrier. I mean, what other ingredients did you want to touch on?
None of these specifically. I mean, I had questions on have you ever experimented with like shea butter? Because I've had experience over there.
Yeah. What was your experience like with those?
Very good. I've used it for my like I said, I've had some type of like rash. I don't even know what it is on my arms. Back, it's completely gone. Chest almost completely gone. But it's completely gone by using the Meraki Moo. But I've used shea butter as well on itself.
Yeah.
And I've never felt my skin more smooth by using that.
No, I mean, shea butter is a great option for with what we were going for with the face balm. I wanted to include oils that were super lightweight. So for people that have used the product or are interested in using the product, our face balm or our tallow balm is very different from most tallow balms that you'll find on the market. It's insanely lightweight because it's whipped. So we combine the ingredients. I melt the tallow just enough for all the ingredients to be properly incorporated, but low enough to where there's no damage to the vitamin K, CoQ10, or pregnenolone whenever we're incorporating it. It sets. I whip it, and then kind of like I'll like use a like a piping bag basically to assemble all of these. But it's super lightweight. A lot of people, whenever they first use it, the feedback that I get before they apply it is like, Nick, this is going to make my skin super greasy. Like it's going to be like I'm just applying butter on my face. And people are immediately blown away by how well it absorbs into their skin. It doesn't leave a greasy residue. It has this nice like matte finish. So you have this nice glowing skin, but not in a greasy, off-putting way, but just kind of this natural vibrancy that that your skin has. It's really incredible, honestly.
Royal honey.
Royal honey in the evening serum. So that has natural emollients in it. That's really great for overnight skin repair.
Okay.
So royal honey is used in some natural skincare products. I'm working with a couple different folks right now to find the best source of natural honey that I possibly can. And this is a recurring theme that you're going to hear a lot from me, Alfonso, is I'm always looking to see how I can make the product better,
Of course.
to improve the potency of it, but also make sure that more people have access to it as well. So royal honey is a really key part of that. For the evening serum, things like niacinamide to help to shrink the visual appearance of your pores. People are really self-conscious about the size of their pores, and this is a great way to kind of help with that. The 𝐬𝐡𝐧𝐮𝐟𝐚𝐥𝐨. So the upcoming versions are going to have both 𝐬𝐡𝐧𝐮𝐟𝐚 and Bacopa Monnieri included in them
Okay.
together. So whenever you use them together, they work synergistically. That's another big shout out to Hux and to Grim for kind of helping to kind of steer me and direct me a little bit with that. Let's see, what else do we have? Chaga, turkey tail, just
Wow.
insanely potent mushrooms. We use them a lot orally, but whenever you apply them topically, again, think whatever you take orally and ingest orally to better your whole body, think about that, but for your skin specifically.
Wow.
Milk thistle, right? Typically people take milk thistle to help with, liver issues, detoxing, etc. It works very similarly with your face, so helping to kind of calm and soothe your skin. Chamomile is also included in our evening serum. And I can give you a little bit of a sneak peek as well. So
I was
Hux and I are
about to
currently
ask.
working on V2. We're going to include a couple new mushrooms, a couple new herbs as well, which I can't release all that right now because that's still in the works. But guaranteed thing that we're including is copper peptides. So 𝐬𝐡𝐧𝐻𝐾CU. And if you are interested in trying the evening serum, there are like serum boosters that you can get off of Amazon for like 25, $30. You want to look for a 1% copper peptide serum. So 1% copper peptide, 99% distilled water. And what I do currently is I mix the 1% copper peptide serum or solution with the evening serum. So I'll apply it before I go to bed. And man, I cannot believe how I love my product. I love the evening serum, but the inclusion of the copper peptide just takes everything to a whole new level.
Wow.
Typically whenever we wake up, we look, groggy, or face looks all matted. I look great as soon as I wake up, which I think to a lot of people is really appealing.
Of course.
Which it's incredible.
I love that.
One of the key additions, and I'll give you this for the morning serum. So we have tremella mushroom currently, we have the astragalus root currently, but we're going to throw in cordyceps mushrooms as well. So a lot of like energizing potentials that the cordyceps mushrooms have. Again, you take that orally, think about how that's applied topically.
Right.
So I love the products in their current iteration, but man, I can't wait until they're able to get their hands on the second version.
I think I can't wait as well, dude. Like I told you yesterday or Monday, I'm amazed and just like in love with mushrooms.
Yeah.
And when I read Tremilla mushroom, I've read on chaga being good for our skin. But you using all these mushrooms for our skin, this is so exciting. And I've never heard cordyceps on the skin. That's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, it's gonna be nuts. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm really excited about it. I'm really excited about
And
it.
that's gonna be in the serum as well? Just
Correct.
in
Yeah.
the serum?
So
Okay.
so again, think about fat soluble with fat ingredients, and then water soluble with our serums. So typically, what skincare companies will do is they'll give you like this really nice like cream that comes in a pump, but that has emulsifying ingredients, so some type of wax or some type of petrochemical like emulsifying ingredient where you can have both fat and water mixed together. So then you have to add in a stabilizing ingredient to keep that together. And then you have to add in some type of like you have to add in additional ingredients to make sure that there isn't like degradation of the formula. It doesn't get moldy. It doesn't, get gross, etc. So by keeping the fats with the fats and the water soluble ingredients with the water soluble ingredients, it helps to make sure that the formulas are very simple and very streamlined.
I love that. Okay, Nick. Besides using creams and what are these called again? Sorry.
The serums?
Right. Besides using creams, serums, tallow, oils on our skin and in our hair, what should people look into to also keep their skin and hair glowing and healthy besides putting stuff on top of it?
Yep. Yeah. So your diet's really important. People talk about gut health all the time, and there is a lot of truth to that. Absolutely. A clean diet where you're, being able to remove toxins, removing inflammatory things from your diet, highly refined carbohydrates, sugars, etc. Those are the things that bacteria feed off of, not only in the gut, but also on your skin. So if you want to have perfect, pristine, glowing skin, start with your gut first. That'll help you to lose weight, which will make your jawline more chiseled. But it'll also reflect outwardly in the youthfulness and the vibrancy of your skin. Sunlight is a really big aspect to this as well. Morning and evening sunlight. If you're not able to get morning and evening sunlight, and if you're, like, let's say you're a veterinarian or you're a doctor and you work a 12-hour shift and you're not able to get that morning and evening sunlight, supplementing with a red light therapy panel is really helpful.
Okay.
A lot of people don't realize this, but if you have a W-2 job where you have health insurance and a health savings account, etc., you can use your health savings account credit card to buy a red light therapy panel. Yeah.
Okay.
So if your HSA carrier is able to, like, if they deem that as a qualified medical expense, get one. It's a great investment that I've made, and I've used mine quite a bit. What are some other essentials? People like, so I use a shower filter. There's a lot of crap that comes out of regular tap water, especially living in, the city of Houston like I do. Shower filters help to get rid of all the extra crap that we are regularly putting on ourselves. Our water supply is, it's filtered, but if you were to dive deeper into what's in there, fluoride content, pharmaceutical things, like hormonal birth control in our water supply, Viagra in our water supply, these things that touch our skin. Yeah, I mean, it has impacts. And again, if you're thinking about drinking this water, like I've been drinking my Mountain Valley spring water. I like that just for the taste in and of itself. It's got a perfect balance of magnesium, calcium, and potassium. But I'm also trying to avoid the amount of tap water that I'm drinking because whatever you're ingesting orally has similar effects to if it's touching your skin topically. Building your solar callus is really important. Grim's talked about that. 𝐬𝐧𝐮𝐟𝐚𝐥𝐸 talked about that as well.
Melanin is huge. Yeah.
You want to make sure that you're getting regular sunlight, not just in the mornings and evenings, but during the day as well. There are so many benefits to getting natural sunlight. We could go on for that for forever. But there are also people much smarter than me, and like that is their bread and butter. But core message: get sunlight. It is incredibly helpful for you and for every single aspect of your body. Are there other things for hair?
Cold exposure?
I'm not like, take it or leave it. Like I like the sauna. I just kind of enjoy like the process of sweating stuff out. And then I'll hop into, so at my gym, there's a sauna, and then there's like a pool that's 65 degrees. I like the feeling of going from really hot to really cold. It's a good shock to my system. It wakes me up. I don't like microanalyze like, oh, I got, this much cold exposure and, I'm that much more based now that I have like this amount of cold exposure. But it's a useful tool. I wouldn't say that I like practice it regularly. But that's not to say that it doesn't have benefits for some people. And also wash your face. Washing your face. People, I mean, everyone has their own opinions on stuff, but if you have crap on your face, dirt, etc., your body is going to try to your body is going to be like, oh wow, it's going to clog your pores, and it's going to cause you to break out. Wash your skin, wash your face. Do that on a regular basis, once or twice a day as needed. I use a silk pillowcase because, again, like I think it just feels really comfortable. But then there are also lots of effects where silk pillowcases are shown to help reduce wrinkles, makes your hair less staticky. People swear that silk pillowcases do everything under the sun. I think that they're just comfortable, and I like sleeping with a silk pillowcase. So people can take it or leave it, but that is what I do on a day-to-day basis.
Right. I love that. So what about emotions? Inside to outside, right?
Emotions or motions?
Emotions.
What about emotions specifically, Alfonso?
For skin.
Like, how do your emotions play a role in your
exactly.
skin?
Do you think it plays a role?
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think that, again, it goes back to gut health. So you have to consider how you're physically feeling, what you're putting into your body, and then the outward expression of that. I think people that have bad bags under their eyes, they're losing their hairline, their hair is grayed. We tend to, if you were to close your eyes and visualize a man who is stressed out and frenzied and overworked, you'd probably imagine a guy with horrible bags under his eyes, wrinkles, a receding hairline, or like no hair at all, and like gray hair. There's a reason that we have that natural perception. There's a reason why we lose hair whenever we're stressed. People under chronic stress will lose hair very rapidly. So I think that's a great question, and I think that people don't give that enough regular consideration. We're so quick to think that everything kind of exists in this perfect bucket and that there's no overlap. And I think if we stopped and kind of considered how things all kind of work together, there is a lot of overlap.
I love that. Yeah, I love that. What are your thoughts on the modern like skincare industry?
So I know a lot of accounts on Twitter are very focused on like, take down big pharma, take down big skincare.
Yeah.
I don't operate like that. What I'm trying to do, Alfonso, is make the best with what I have and with what I know. I'm not trying to be a competitor to anybody. People DM me and be like, "Oh yeah, are you trying to like take down Vance?" I'm like, "I'm not trying to take down Vance. I want Vance to do whatever he can. I want him to be successful in his own regard." Everybody that is in this space of making, people make tallow bombs because it works for folks that have had issues with psoriasis, eczema, etc. And there are plenty of people that need help with these problems. I think that there are definitely shortcuts that are taken by a lot of skincare industries. If you look at Dove, right, like a lot of Dove products can't be classified as soap because there are legal definitions for what soap means. So if you look at like a Dove, I forget the terms that they use, but some of their body wash and some of the like bars, you can't call it a bar of soap. It's like
just a bar,
like a body bar or something along those lines, because they can't legally call it soap. Do some do some of your own research on that too. It causes people to have like a filament on their skin. So sometimes people will report having issues applying bandages onto their skin topically because there's this kind of like inorganic filament that's on their body, which is kind of crazy. But I do think that there are a lot of great skincare companies out there. So, if you go to a Whole Foods or a Sprouts, there are companies currently that'll use tremella, cordyceps, etc., which I think is really great. What I like to say to people is, for me personally, I just keep my blinders on. I don't really pay attention to who my competition is or what my competition's doing. I just want to put forth the best freaking product that I absolutely can,
I love that.
and just kind of focus on that.
Love that. Nick, for my last question,
Mhm.
what brings you most joy in life?
Genuinely, I love whenever, so this is general. I love cooking or making something for someone and seeing the look on their face when they interact with it and it resonates well with them. So my girlfriend loves food. We both love food. And when we go out to eat, something that gives me just an insane amount of joy is seeing her face light up with this like aha moment of, wow, like this is perfect. Like everything, it's hot where it should be hot. It's crunchy. It's flavorful. Like I love that moment. And very similarly with whenever I see that people have experiences that give them life, that give them joy, I can't describe the feeling that it gives me.
Beautiful. I mean,
Yeah,
it relates to your sister story with 𝐬𝐸.
definitely. And I'm a fairly simple guy too. Like I love having a good time with my friends and such, but hearing what makes them tick, hearing what gives them purpose gets me really fired up, and that's where I've been able to befriend a lot of people on X, and you included, talking about your passion with podcasting and with health. That gives me a lot of energy and a lot of excitement. So really appreciate you taking the time to kind of talk with me.
Dude, I appreciate you. I appreciate your
Yeah.
words, what you're doing to this industry. And yeah, I'm very, very, very bullish and excited for your future.
I appreciate it, man.
I
Absolutely.
appreciate you, dude.
Any other questions, my friend?
No, that's it, Nick.
Right on.
Thank you, brother.
You're very welcome.
Give me 1 second.
Yeah.